All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're looking at a book that kicks off with a pretty wild thought. What if everything you can see and the nothing you can't are actually just two sides of the very same coin? Yeah, it's an idea that kind of shakes up our most basic assumptions about reality. So, let's get into it.
So, the author, Medtem Aki, starts by asking us to just hit pause for a second and think about a really basic question. When we say the word everything, what are we actually truly talking about? It sounds so simple, right? But the more you start to unpack that word, the weirder it gets.
And then, right on the heels of that, comes the second question, the one that's even more of a head-scratcher. If we could somehow strip away every single particle, every wave of energy, what's left? Is it even possible that nothing is actually a kind of something? This question is really the core of what we're exploring today.
Now, the author is really clear that this theory isn't being presented as a bunch of rigid, unchanging facts. It's more like a conceptual portal. It's an invitation to step through to the other side and see our own existence from a completely new angle. So let's take that first step through the portal together.
Okay, so to get through this portal, our normal, everyday logic, it's not going to cut it. We need a different kind of tool, a whole new lens for looking at reality. And that means we need to get comfortable with thinking in paradoxes.
You see, most of us were used to thinking in dichotomies. Simple either-or boxes. Things are either true or false, on or off. But a paradox, that embraces both and thinking. It's a space where two ideas that seem to totally contradict each other, like light and dark, can both be true at the same time and even need each other to exist.
And hey, this isn't just some abstract philosophical game. We actually see paradoxes all over the place. In quantum physics, light acts like both a particle and a wave. It just depends on how you're looking at it. The yin-yang symbol is the perfect picture of harmony between opposites. These aren't mistakes in logic. They're clues pointing to a much deeper truth about how reality works.
So, now that we're armed with this idea of a paradox, we can finally approach the book's core theory. This is where we come face to face with that huge question about nothing, and dive into the truly mind-bending concept the author calls the nothing.
Okay, now hold on. Before you start thinking your math teacher lied to you, just remember, this is not a mathematical equation. It's a symbolic key. Think of this formula as the conceptual tool we're going to use to try and unlock the ultimate source of reality, a place that's totally beyond our normal definitions.
So first up, let's look at zero. In this framework, zero isn't emptiness, not at all. It's pure untapped potential. You can think of it like the quantum vacuum. It's not a void, it's this seething sea of latent energy where absolutely anything and everything can spring from. It's the silent source of all creation.
Next, we've got the number 1. Now, this doesn't mean a single thing, like one apple. It represents absolute, indivisible unity. It's the wholeness of the entire universe viewed as one single, seamless reality. A reality where there's no real separation between you, me, or the most distant star.
And finally, we have infinity. This is the dynamic, boundless expression of all that potential we talked about. It's the universe just endlessly unfolding in all of its limitless forms. So here's the kicker. The potential, that's zero. The unity, that's 1. And the infinite expression, that's infinity. They aren't steps in a sequence. They are 3 faces of the exact same ultimate reality, all happening at once.
Okay, so if the ultimate source of everything is this perfect, unbroken unity, then how do we end up with this world? The one that's full of separation and complexity and all these individual things. How does the nothing actually show up as, well, everything?
For that, the book gives us a second conceptual equation. And again, this isn't about arithmetic. It's a symbol for the dynamic, often messy, paradoxical reality that we actually live in. A world of duality, of relationships, and endless interaction.
So our lived reality, the one you and I are in right now, it exists on this incredible spectrum. It kicks off with simple duality, up and down, light and dark, you and me. And from there, it just explodes into ever-increasing levels of complexity, creating the rich, tangled world we know, always getting closer to, but never quite reaching, that perfect, seamless infinity of the nothing.
So what's the point? Why does any of this abstract stuff matter to you, and me in our daily lives. Well, this is where the theory gets deeply personal. This is where it completely reframes our idea of who we even are. The book gives us this fantastic new word, interdividuals. It's a direct challenge to the idea that we're all separate, isolated individuals. Instead, it suggests we are fundamentally interconnected beings, defined not by our separateness, but by our constant dance of interaction with everything and everyone around us.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Your identity isn't just you. It's a web of relationships. You're a child, a parent, a friend, an employee, a citizen. This theory says that your personal growth never happens in a vacuum. It's tied to the growth of everyone you're connected to. And our challenges, they aren't just our problems. They're opportunities for the whole web to learn, adapt, and grow together.
So, as we start to bring this all home, what's the big takeaway? If we really start to see the world through this new lens, what does it actually mean for how we live inside this paradox every single day?
Here it is, the core idea in a nutshell. Reality isn't a big collection of separate things. It's a living, breathing, dynamic dance of interconnected possibilities. And the best part? We aren't just watching this dance from the sidelines, we are the dance.
And that leads us to the final provocative question the author leaves us with. And it's really the central invitation of the entire book. Once you've had a glimpse of reality as the nothing, can you ever really unsee it? Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.